Have you ever wondered what would have happened if the Civil War had a different outcome? The mid-19th century was a tumultuous period in American history as the nation grappled with the contentious issues of slavery and states' rights. The United States, a young nation with promising ideals of liberty and freedom, was paradoxically divided over the inhumane institution of slavery. In the southern states, where the economy was heavily reliant on agriculture, slavery was seen as an essential institution. In contrast, the northern states, rapidly industrializing and embracing a different social order, were increasingly opposed to this practice. This fundamental disagreement over the issue of slavery, combined with deep-seated concerns about states' rights and the balance of power, ultimately led to the outbreak of the Civil War in 1861. The Civil War was a brutal and bloody conflict, marked by key battles and turning points. Take the Battle of Gettysburg, for instance, a 3-day bloodbath that was one of the deadliest in the war and a significant turning point. The Union's victory here dealt a severe blow to the Confederacy, both militarily and morally. But the war was more than just battles and military strategies. It left an indelible mark on the nation, causing an unimaginable loss of life and property. The war claimed more than 600,000 lives, a grim testament to the intensity of the conflict. The physical landscape of the country was also drastically altered, with homes, farms, and entire cities destroyed in the wake of battles. The Civil War was a turning point in American history. It brought an end to slavery, with the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment forever abolishing this cruel institution. However, the end of the war did not mean an immediate end to the struggles of the divided nation. The nation had to grapple with the aftermath of the war, the task of rebuilding the South, and the challenge of integrating millions of freed slaves into society. The Civil War ended slavery, but left a deeply divided nation in its wake. Imagine a nation torn apart by war, now tasked with stitching itself back together. How did America handle this monumental challenge? Picture this. The Civil War has ended. The smoke clears, revealing a landscape of ruin and devastation. The United States, once a single entity, is now a patchwork of North and South, free and enslaved, urban and rural. The monumental task of reassembling this shattered nation looms ahead, a daunting prospect that demands courage, resilience, and vision. This period of American history is known as the Reconstruction era. Reconstruction was an era of profound transformation. The southern states, ravaged by war, were reintegrated into the Union. A new economic system emerged, replacing the plantation economy that had been built on the backs of enslaved people. The South had to adapt to a world where cotton was no longer king and where the labor force was no longer enslaved. But perhaps the most profound change was the abolition of slavery. The 13th Amendment to the Constitution, ratified in 1865, marked a seismic shift in American society. For the first time, African Americans were recognized as citizens, endowed with the same rights and freedoms as their white counterparts. Yet the struggle for African American rights was far from over. Laws known as the Black Codes sought to restrict these newfound freedoms, while violent backlash from groups like the Ku Klux Klan terrorized African American communities. The promise of equality was slow to materialize, and the fight for civil rights would stretch on for another century. Reconstruction was a time of great hope as a nation sought to rebuild itself in the image of its highest ideals. Yet it was also a time of missed opportunities, as the seeds of resentment and racial tension were sown deep into the American soil. The echoes of these struggles can still be heard today, reminding us of the enduring challenges of creating a truly equal and inclusive society. Reconstruction was a time of great hope, but also a time of missed opportunities and deep-seated resentment. What would you do if you heard tales of land ripe for the taking and gold just waiting to be found? Would you pack up and head west? Imagine the allure of the unknown, the promise of prosperity. In the mid-19th century, thousands of Americans did just that. They packed their belongings, said goodbye to their familiar surroundings, and embarked on a journey westward. This period of American history, known as the Westward Expansion, was fueled by the discovery of gold in California. The promise of wealth was too enticing for many to resist. This was the era of the gold rush. However, the journey was not easy. The travelers, often referred to as pioneers, faced numerous challenges. Harsh weather, difficult terrains, and the scarcity of basic resources tested their resolve. Many lost their lives to disease or exhaustion, yet the hope of striking it rich kept them going. The gold rush and the westward expansion brought about significant changes. Towns sprung up almost overnight, and with them came new infrastructures like railways that would forever alter the American landscape. This period of rapid development and growth was not without its drawbacks, though. The rush for gold and land did not consider the rights and lives of Native American populations. They were displaced from their ancestral lands, and their cultures disrupted. The environment also paid a heavy price. Forests were cleared, rivers were redirected, and wildlife was disrupted to make way for new settlements and mining operations. Even as we marvel at the spirit of adventure and resilience of these pioneers, we must not forget the price that was paid. The westward expansion brought prosperity for some, but it also brought conflict and hardship. The echoes of these events still resonate today, reminding us that progress should never come at the expense of respect for human rights and the environment. The westward expansion brought prosperity for some, but it also brought conflict and hardship. From a fractured nation emerged a powerhouse. But how did America transform from a war-torn country into a global leader? In the aftermath of the Civil War, America faced the daunting task of knitting itself back together, not just politically, but socially and economically too. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw the United States shift from an agrarian society to a burgeoning industrial powerhouse. With the rise of industry came the growth of cities, as people flocked to urban areas in search of work and opportunity. Cities like New York, Chicago, and San Francisco, once modest in size, swelled with the influx of both domestic migrants and immigrants from across the globe. Immigrants from Europe, Asia, and Latin America brought with them their cultures, languages, and traditions, adding to the rich tapestry of American society. And it wasn't just the cities that were growing. The country was on the move, pushing its borders ever westward. The completion of the Transcontinental Railroad in 1869 symbolized this relentless drive and ambition, physically linking the country from coast to coast. This era of change wasn't without its challenges, of course. The rapid pace of industrialization brought with it a host of social and economic problems, but it also brought about significant advancements. Innovations in technology, transportation, and communication reshaped the way people lived and worked. Figures like Thomas Edison, with his invention of the electric light bulb, and Alexander Graham Bell, with his development of the telephone, became symbols of the American spirit of innovation. These trailblazers, along with countless others, helped lay the foundation for the modern America we know today. In the midst of this transformation, the American identity evolved too. A nation of farmers and frontiersmen became a nation of industrialists and innovators, of immigrants and city dwellers. The America we know today is a product of these tumultuous times, a testament to resilience and the enduring spirit of innovation. History isn't just about the past. It's about understanding how the past shapes our present and future. So, what can we learn from the Civil War and the rebuilding of America? The Civil War was not only a violent clash of ideologies, but also a stark reminder of the deep divisions that can exist within a society. It taught us that unity cannot be achieved by simply ignoring or suppressing differences. Rather, it requires understanding, dialogue, and most importantly, respect for diversity. The period of Reconstruction that followed the war was a time of significant change and growth. It demonstrated the resilience of a nation, the capacity to rebuild, and the power of collective effort. However, it also highlighted the challenges of change, the resistance faced when attempting to alter deep-seated beliefs, and the persistence of inequality, even in the wake of legal reforms. The westward expansion, driven by the allure of gold, showcased the human spirit of adventure and ambition. Yet, it also led to the displacement of indigenous communities, reminding us that progress should not come at the expense of others. The building of America, from sea to shining sea, is a testament to human ingenuity and determination. It serves as an inspiration for all those who aspire to change and create. but it also underscores the importance of sustainable development and respect for the environment. These lessons from history are not just relics of the past. They are echoes that resonate in our present, in the issues we grapple with today, from social justice to environmental conservation, from political division to societal integration. As we look to the future, let us not forget the lessons of the past, for in understanding our history, we can better shape our destiny.